Welcome to Daily Gossip. You will get daily Hollywood and celebrity news here. Remember to subscribe for the latest updates. But today, we turn from glamour to something far more serious. An emotional, deeply shocking story that has shaken the world of sports and left fans heartbroken and confused. A name once associated with pride, strength, and national glory now echoes in a courtroom and police headlines. We're talking about Kyle Snyder, America's beloved Olympic wrestling champion, a man who once stood atop the world with gold around his neck, now at the center of a devastating scandal. In an Ohio-based sting operation targeting prostitution and human trafficking, Snyder's name has emerged in a way no one could have imagined. What happened? What does this mean for his legacy, his career, and most importantly, for those who looked up to him? This is the emotional unraveling of a national hero and the heavy weight of a fall from grace. Kyle Snyder's name wasn't just known in wrestling circles, it was revered. Born in Woodbine, Maryland, Snyder's journey from a disciplined young athlete to a global wrestling sensation inspired millions. He made history in 2016 at the Rio de Janeiro Olympics, becoming the youngest American to win gold in wrestling. Fans watched with tears of pride as he overpowered giants on the mat. His composure, integrity, and humility set him apart, not just as a champion, but as a role model. Schools, sports clinics, and media hailed him as the embodiment of clean, disciplined, athletic excellence. He wasn't just winning matches. He was winning hearts. Over the years, Snyder became a symbol of American wrestling with world championship titles, NCAA dominance, while at Ohio State, and a relentless drive. He inspired a new generation of athletes. Brands backed him, institutions embraced him, and fans followed his every match with faith that this man was untouchable. Not just in skill, but in character. He spoke at schools. He mentored young wrestlers. He represented not just medals, but morals. So when news broke that Kyle Snyder had been arrested as part of a sting operation targeting prostitution, the disbelief was universal. The operation, conducted by law enforcement in Ohio, was part of a broader effort to combat human trafficking and illegal prostitution networks. Local authorities had been investigating for weeks, if not months. What began as a coordinated mission to protect vulnerable individuals suddenly became a national story, not because of its intent, but because of the names involved. Kyle Snyder's inclusion in the list of individuals arrested was a gut punch no one saw coming. It wasn't just another athlete facing legal trouble. It was him, the golden boy, and with that, headlines exploded. The quiet, powerful, disciplined athlete was now at the center of a scandal that seemed too dark to believe. The reaction was immediate. Social media platforms filled with disbelief. Fans, athletes, parents, and even former Olympians asked the same question: how could this happen? Some defended him instantly, calling for due process and warning against rushing to judgment. Others, devastated, expressed betrayal, especially those who had allowed their children to idolize him. Across comment sections, podcasts, and TV discussions, the words were heavy. This is heartbreaking. Not Kyle. Tell me this isn't true. It wasn't just about legality. It was about the fall of a hero, and the emotional damage was as widespread as it was deep. As the news settled in, Kyle Snyder remained silent. His legal team issued a basic statement indicating cooperation with authorities and asking the public to withhold judgment. But the silence from Snyder himself added a chilling layer to the situation. Was he guilty? Was he in the wrong place? At the wrong time? Was he caught up in something more complex than the headlines revealed? As these questions swirled, one truth remained unshakable. This story would mark a permanent chapter in his life, regardless of outcome, and the court of public opinion was already in session across wrestling clubs and university programs. The atmosphere shifted from pride to quiet grief. Coaches who had praised Snyder were now reeling. Young athletes who had once worn his gear now avoided conversations about him. Wrestling forums that used to debate his stats now questioned his choices. The USA Wrestling Organization remained reserved in its response, likely awaiting legal clarity. But behind closed doors, the hurt was palpable. Kyle Snyder wasn't just a name on a team sheet. He was the face of the program. Now, his image stood beside headlines no athlete ever wants to be in. Despite the shock, many are also asking a deeper question. What happened in Snyder's life behind the scenes? Could this scandal be the result of personal struggle, mental health battles, or the unbearable pressure of always being perfect? Fame, after all, isolates. The constant need to maintain an ideal can break even the strongest spirit. If Kyle Snyder did in fact make a mistake, what led him there? Was it loneliness, poor judgment, manipulation, or something darker? These aren't excuses, but they are human questions. And as painful as this story is, it reminds us that even our heroes have battles we don't see. The legal process will now take its course. If proven guilty, Snyder may face charges ranging from misdemeanor solicitation to more serious implications if additional factors are uncovered. If found innocent or misidentified, it will still take years to rebuild his image. Either way, his name has been dragged through one of the most public scandals in recent sports history. Sponsorships will vanish, TV appearances will be cancelled, and most painfully, his legacy, etched in Olympic gold, will now forever have an asterisk. What's hardest to capture is the internal emotional storm Snyder is likely facing. A man who once stood in front of the world holding a gold medal is now sitting in silence, waiting for his name to be cleared or condemned. For someone who worked his whole life to reach perfection in a sport that demands sacrifice, the emotional toll of such a public fall must be indescribable. Shame is a heavy burden, and in the era of social media, that burden becomes inescapable. Every comment, every headline, every whisper, it all compounds into a prison far more isolating than any legal sentence. What now becomes of Kyle Snyder's legacy? Will he be remembered as the youngest American Olympic wrestling champion? Or the athlete who lost it all in one scandal? Can redemption be found in the future? Or has this forever erased the image of honor that once defined him? These are questions time alone will answer. But the pain of this moment, for fans, for family, for young athletes, cannot be understated. The world looked up to him, and now it looks at him with sadness, anger, and heartbreak. At Daily Gossip, we cover glitz, glamour, triumphs, and tragedies. This is one of the most emotionally charged stories we've seen. A lesson in fame, pressure, and the human capacity to fall. We don't yet know all the facts, and we urge our audience to approach this with empathy and patience. But we also acknowledge the hurt, the betrayal, and the emotional weight of watching a hero fall. Whether this ends in forgiveness, redemption, or quiet disappearance, the story of Kyle Snyder will remain a cautionary tale in the world of sports and in the hearts of those who once called him a champion. Please like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments how this story made you feel. Do you believe in second chances? Or is the fall of a hero too hard to reverse? Let's talk about it together.